Hello.
Hi, how are you? So we're both wearing glasses today.
Yes. Well, I looked at myself on my Zoom real quickly to be like, how is this looking? And I was like, oh, I feel like my lashes are like understated today. So I
Uh-huh.
dress it up with glasses.
Are they prescription?
My glasses.
Yeah,
So I do wear prescription glasses, but I wear contacts most of the time. So these are like my blue light computer glasses.
totally. I have some blue light as well. And like I give them to my sons because they love playing with my glasses.
Yes, my daughter comes in my office and will put them on all the time. And then she plays teacher with my whiteboard.
She doesn't play coach?
No, can you believe
Oh,
that? No,
and
she's
she's
all about
pretty
teacher.
old.
Yeah, she's gonna be 10 in a couple months.
Do any of your kids want to be coaches?
No.
Oh. And Stuart was an engineer, right?
Yeah,
Do they want
yeah.
to be engineers?
No,
Okay, that's good.
they
That's
really
good.
don't.
That's
Yeah, I
good.
think they're all on their own path. But like, really, my daughter does not even want to be a teacher. She wants to be Taylor Swift.
I would like to be Taylor Swift's executive assistant.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be so interesting?
Yes. And I'm sure she gets paid a lot.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Did you know that she made over $1 billion on her last tour?
Yeah,
That's a lot.
smart. She's very smart.
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, what I wanted to do today was this is like an Ask My Coach series that I'm doing.
Oh,
Okay,
fun.
I'm going to be starting a podcast, but this isn't even that. My clients just are like, send me the replay.
I love
We're not waiting for you, Michelle. Just send us the replay.
it. In whatever form you can get it to them, they're like, we'll take it.
So I do have like prepared questions for you. And I wanted to start off by telling you how I started, like, entered your world. So
Yeah.
do you remember Stacey Bayman's interview in 2020, Samantha? Do you remember that?
Like my original podcast
Yes.
episode with her. Yeah.
When you were making 200K.
Yep.
Okay. And like the reason why that is so funny is I'm gonna ask you how much money you're making now. Don't tell us yet. Don't tell us yet. Okay, so
Okay.
I heard that interview with Stacey Bayman, and I was like, who is this woman? Like, she's amazing. And I went and I joined your online building business mamas Facebook group.
Yeah.
And then I like not too much like this is 2020. So the pandemic hadn't even started yet. I didn't even have kids yet. And your business at the time, or one of your businesses, was named Mama to CEO.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have kids, but I was like, this girl. And then I would say maybe a few months in, I paid you 2K to join Mama to CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like my only business coaching expense at the time. So I paid you 2K, and then I would say probably a year in, I started making 5K months. Because when I met you, when I joined 2K for 2K, not 2K for 2K, Mama to CEO, I wasn't making any money. So
Mm-hmm.
that 2K, like it did come out of my business, but I wasn't making it was a big purchase for me at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I get that. Like, I think when your business is brand new or like just getting started and not making any money, really any amount is intimidating. I think my first coaching expense for my business was like around $300 a month for a membership. And I remember putting it off for an entire year. It was 200 for the whole first year, like each month. And like every month I was like, no. And then the next year she raised it to 300 a month. And I was like, oh, I should have joined.
totally. So Samantha, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hello everyone. I'm Samantha Siffring. I am a business coach, as mentioned. I typically do work with moms, although I've kind of like broadened up my message a bit because you're not the only one who came to me not as a mom, and so many people would be like, "Is it okay that I'm here?" So I wanted to be like, "Yes, it is," and also there really are differences growing a business as a mom or somebody just with a lot going on. So that is my focus and mission is helping people who have other priorities in their life besides just the business, but also want a successful business.
Right, right. Do you have a real estate business?
I don't have a real estate business. I do have a passion for real estate because both of my parents are entrepreneurs in real estate. So
Right.
my mom's a realtor and my dad is a loan officer. And so I have been, immersed in that industry since I was a kid. So we have made really great money on every property we've ever bought because it's just like in my genes, I think.
When you say
So,
we, do you mean you and Stuart?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
So like we
Um,
kind of do, sort
yeah,
of, but
yeah,
not
I was just
exactly.
curious because I would say it's just so interesting. Like for now, um, it sounds as though your family's main income comes from your coaching business. Yeah?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But one of the things that my audience is going to want to know is who is Stuart? Like, we could tell it's your husband, but like they're going to want to know. First of all, they're going to want to know how old you are, and they're going to want. I know that's a random. You just had a birthday, so
Yeah,
random
this is
question, but
great.
they're going to
I
want to
love
know who
these
you are,
like
and
nosy
like how
questions.
did you meet your husband? They're going to want to know that.
Okay. So I just turned 38. As you said, I just had a birthday earlier this week. Um, and Stuart and I met in college. It was my sophomore year of college, and we studied abroad. So we met studying abroad, and we were from different colleges. So he went to school in Colorado, where he's from. I was at James Madison University in Virginia. For anyone who knows it, I mostly grew up in Virginia, but definitely all on the East Coast. And we met in college. I was 19. So 30 is like a big year because it's like this is the halfway, like half of my life was without Stuart and half of my life has been with Stuart moment where it's like it's balanced. And for some reason, that feels like a really big deal to me.
Of course. That is so romantic. Oh my gosh. I would have loved to meet Caleb on my when you study abroad thing. Like you met when you were 19. Oh, my
Yeah.
clients are like drooling now. Like, why couldn't that have been me?
I was not even looking either. I was just getting out of I mean, long-term relationship seems silly for a 19-year-old kind of, but like I had been with this person for 2 years. We really thought we were going to get married. And then, you know, sometimes you find out, actually, no, we're not going to get married. You're not my person. And so I was like, I'm just going to like go live it up, enjoy study abroad, not worry about like relationships or anything like that. Just have a good time, in a different country and
Yeah.
learning about
What
myself.
country was it?
It was in England.
Ah, so
Hmm.
romantic. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's so romantic. So how old were you when you got married?
I was 21.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then tell us how many kids you have and how old you were when you had them. Which
Yes.
is
Okay. I
not
have,
usually the way you think of it, right? You think of their ages.
yeah, I like it though. We're like going through the chronology of my life. Okay. So I have 3 kids, and I had my first when I was 23. And then my next one I had at 25. And then my next one I had at 28.
Okay.
So I was done by 30, which wasn't like not a life goal, but sure felt nice to do.
Totally. Totally. And it's really like I would imagine that you feel like you can, this isn't even one of the questions I thought of, but as I'm listening to you, you must feel like you grew up with Stuart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, I think, to have a relationship like that. And I know it doesn't work for a lot of people. Like a lot of times they grow and change and grow apart, and who they become is maybe not compatible with that other person. And I think, I don't know. I feel like even at that time, being really young and like not even focused on like finding a partner for life or anything, I I knew who I wanted to be in a relationship with, and I knew it was important. And for me, friendship was always like the top thing. And so I think having that as our first thing, we started as friends because I was like, I'm not doing the dating thing. Like, we can be friends. And like, he didn't show any interest in making it go beyond friends at the beginning either. It was just like, oh, we're all meeting new people and enjoying this city. And like, we would go grocery shopping together. And one day he went jeans shopping with me, like jeans shopping. Nobody likes jeans shopping, is terrible and hard. And I was like, wow, he spent all day looking for jeans with me. So like we had that friendship to start out, and then it developed into more. And I feel like that has been a really good foundation.
Totally. So you guys have been married for 19 years, but still, you got such a long way to go. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah, totally. So, okay. So we know that I know that you've retired. He's still retired, right?
I have an update to this. So he actually
What?
went back to work a couple of months ago,
Oh,
back to
fun.
engineering.
Fun.
And I mean, we'll probably get into more of this with the business thing, but for the past couple of years, I had just been making a lot of changes in the business and kind of like rethinking through like, what do I want this to be? What direction do I want to take this and all of that? And so I mean, of course, when you're the primary earner, like there is stress involved in that. So it was like, okay, first of all, what are our options for not having it all on me so I feel the flexibility to explore and not have to do things just because we need the money. So that was part of it, but also the kids' ages now.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Can you tell us how, because I have no idea how old they are, right? I have an idea, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so they're 14, 12, and 9,
Okay.
and they all have summer to early fall birthdays. So they're all about to be the next age. So it's 10 to 15 is the age
Mm.
range. And they don't need what they used to need. And like when he first came home, it was right before COVID. And I think my daughter was in like kindergarten. Like they were much younger. And then, of course, we were homeschooling 3 kids and not able to leave the house and all of that. So there was like so much for him to do at home. And like another big part of it was just he needed something in his life. And so
Yeah,
it's been really nice seeing.
I I totally am planning to retire Caleb, but my kids are 3 and 7 months. So
Yeah.
we need him to retire. Like, I'm like, babe, can you please just retire
Yes.
tomorrow? Like, I'm running this business and it's a profitable business. I'm probably working about 50 hours a week. He's working 50 hours a week. I'm like, babe, can you please just tell your boss you quit? So with your husband, I remember you're saying that he did lose his job and he was looking for work, but then he just never went back
Hmm.
for a while. I would say sounds like 4 years.
Yeah. So that was the end of 2019. So like 4.5 years he was home.
Okay. And now he's like, living his own life now. Your kids need you less. One of the things I'd like to kind of more talk about your business now.
Yeah.
And I think that's saying a lot that your business was so profitable that he was, I think you called him a house husband.
Yes.
All right. So do you mind telling us what your business made in 2023?
2023. Okay, so last year
Hmm.
it was around 700,000, which, as you know, probably is a little less than I had been making at the peak, which was over 1 million.
Oh,
So,
just a near 700.
but I think like
The year
that
before I made a
reflects
million.
that reflects the like, changes and me needing to have that space and needing to figure out like, what do I want this to be?
And you're working with your sister now,
Yeah.
and so cool. I mean, like, I thank you for telling us that. Like, she made a million or more in 2022. She made 700,000 in 2023. She'll probably make 2 million in 2024.
And I think, I always say this, like it's not linear. And it's not just like, oh, every year is like doubling or quadrupling or whatever the year before. Like things change and your priorities change and the market changes and you have to respond to all of those things.
Hmm. Yeah. And but what's so fun is that we are in an industry where you can make however much money you want. Like, there's
Hmm.
nobody that's like, for instance, for your husband, and he's going back into engineering, he's not going to be able to make 700K.
No.
There's just not, they're just like, there's no company that could afford to give one person that. And
Right.
my father-in-law was a very successful engineer. I was a very successful engineer. And here's like, let me just like throw down some names, okay? Like, I got my degrees from Johns Hopkins, and so I got my master's and my bachelor's from Johns Hopkins University. But I could have gone to MIT, Stanford, or Caltech. I'm like crazy proud of that.
Yeah.
And then I was an engineer for 10 years and hated every nanosecond. And so I was like, when I got married to Caleb, it was like, babe, like, we're done. Like, get a high paying job. I don't care what you have to do, because I am not going to be an engineer for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And he did get a better paying job, but it's like, when you are a couple, like, you need more money. You just need more money. Um, and I was making the more money because I was an engineer.
Hmm.
And so in 2020, I started with a life coach school, and then COVID hit. And here's what's fun. Like, here's something kind of fun to hear. So in 2020, I made 6K, right? Which
Hmm.
I was able to afford your 2K
Yes.
So I made 6K. And then the next year I made 15K. And then the next year I made 30K. And then the next year I made 60K.
I have so many clients who do this. It fascinates me hearing this story, and I love it.
Yeah. And so far for 2024, it's June, it's Q1, Q2, I'm sorry, it's Q2. I've made over 50K.
I love
So,
it.
so sweet. I'm like, my goal is to make 120. Obviously, my goal is to make 120K this year. I made 60K last year. And then I'm really waiting for next year. Like, I'm really like, what's
Oh, yeah.
2025 going to look like? And I know, and like you said, it's not linear. So, like,
Hmm.
I could make 300K next year. I could make 300K this year. Like, you have no boundaries,
Hmm. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is so fun.
I love it. And I think there's so much flexibility in it, and there's so many options. And I think like that's really what I love about having a business is the flexibility and the freedom that you have and the choices that you just don't have with a job. And that was something that really concerned me with Stuart thinking about going back to work. Like, oh, is this going to cut into our freedom and choices? And so then we were really specific about like, okay, what are the things that are going to work for our life? And really like make this make sense for us. And it was nice to then be able to be picky about that because not everybody has that option. And we certainly didn't have that option. at earlier times in our life. It was like whatever offer you get is the right offer.
Totally. Totally. But I mean, like, honestly, he can quit whenever he wants. Like if he takes a job and it's like this isn't working out for me, he can
Yeah.
say, I'm so sorry, Mr. Boss. It's just this is the wrong fit for me. And I just unfortunately I'm not gonna stay here.
Yeah. But the thing that I have noticed is like every work day, so he works in office 3 days a week. Every day he comes home and is so happy.
Yeah.
Like he is like energized and happy and just like excited about it. And not that he like wasn't happy and excited in our life, but it's like he has something that's just for himself, which is fascinating
Is it a
because that's why
startup?
I started the business.
Is the business that he's working with now, is it a startup?
No, it's actually not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Like men are so different from women, and the things that society puts on men are so different from what they put on women. But, I mean, for you to just say my husband's happy, like that's all we need to know.
Hmm.
I'm sure he loved like being with the kids during those formative years and helping them get through COVID. I'm sure he loved that, but like it's just so beautiful. Like this is why I wanted to do these calls with my coaches, because like for me, like what I think about a lot, and this isn't in my coaching program. I don't talk about it a lot, but it's like I want to live a deliberate life.
Hmm.
A deliberate life. And I think a lot of people are just I was actually listening to a Tony Robbins uh seminar. I was just listening to it yesterday. It's still going on today. Um, but the person was talking, and I think it was Tony who said this. Some people survive and some people succeed.
Hmm.
And it's like, I feel like a lot of people are really living their lives just trying to survive. And it's like, you realize that you could make a different choice, right? And they don't believe they can.
Yep. Yeah, I see it all the time. And I agree with you. I love that language around living a deliberate life because I feel so much the same. And it fascinates me just like seeing people who don't have that perspective, whether it's just like not how their brain works or they're not aware that that's even an option. But I think it's an option for everybody. And of course, the choices look different for everybody. Like people have different choices available. Absolutely. But I do think everybody has multiple choices.
Oh. I hate it when people say, I could never do that. I'm like,
Oh my gosh,
no, you,
same.
you would. And like I hear like my circle is very kind of like rigid because we're Christian, and there's all these rules, and there's all these expectations, and a lot of truth. Well, this is truth. And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, this is your truth.
Hmm.
Okay, babe, let's not get it twisted. But it's from the Bible. And it's like, we're in America, so you can't just say that.
Hmm.
But for us, we do have truths. We have rules, we have the Bible, and it's just like at the same time, like you get to live your life on this earth. And as coaches, I'm sure you feel this too, Samantha, like it's not my job as the Christian dating coach to tell you that you can't have sex before marriage. Like that, I mean, I'll tell you there's a verse that I can read the verse to you. But at the end of the day, this really is your life. And sometimes my clients will come to me and they'll say things like, well, I feel judged. And I'm like, no, no, this isn't about me. And I'm
Hmm.
sure for you, like you're a business coach, so nobody's asking you those questions.
I'm glad they're not.
But you too, I am so sure that you're like, I can tell you how to make money,
Yeah.
but this is your business. You have to decide. how
Yep.
you want to make money. Does
Yeah.
that ever drive you crazy? Like, I know how to help you make money.
It actually doesn't drive me crazy, but I'm sure you have seen me have that conversation a lot of times where the client wants so desperately for me to just tell them what to do. And I'm just like, I cannot. It's not my business. I can tell you best practices. I can tell you what I would do. I could even tell you, like, here's what I think would work best, and here's why. Or, like, here's some variables to think about, and here's how to make the decision. Because sometimes it's also like, I don't know what would work best, but here's what I see. And I was telling my mastermind clients this, I think yesterday. We had a workshop and I made some just like random comment about how in conversations with my best friend who also has a very successful coaching business, sometimes we're just like, we don't know what's going to work. And one of my clients was like, wait a second, what?
You
You
know,
don't know?
it's fair. It's fair to say you don't know what's going to work, but like you probably know more than your client, like what
Yeah,
is going to
of
work.
course.
And so we trust you, and we come to you for answers. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to work with you, because I was watching your webinars, and and I loved your vibe, but I was also like, oh, she actually answers questions.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'll give you all the answers I have.
Yeah, totally. And I just really admired that. And plus there was something very inspirational to me about joining Mom and a CEO, since I didn't have kids
Yeah.
yet and I wanted to have kids. But
Mhm.
now your business is called something else, and really bringing in, a newer, and it's a newer, fresher vibe. And so I guess like my last question for you is like, can you tell us the secret
If I
to
know it.
being a business owner and a wife and a mom, someone who doesn't want to lose her marriage? Because like I know in our industry, some people are losing their marriages, and it's
Mhm.
like over what? I'm like, how did that happen? So I guess like my audience is gonna want to know, like, how do you do it all? Because you have a
Mhm.
business, you have a husband, you have children. Like, how would you say that what your secret is for that?
Yeah. Okay. So I used to always say I don't do it all because it was like Stuart does a lot of stuff. But now I am doing a lot more. I had to change my work schedule so I could do like the school pickup and drop off most days of the week. I have to make my own coffee now most of the time. That I feel like that used to be like my big thing was like he brings me a latte in bed every morning and like he does that 4 mornings a week, but not 3. So I do so much more than, when I had previously answered this question. So I think for me, one of the big secrets of it is understanding what's really important and what's not, and like really having my priorities and my values clear in my mind, and making sure that my decisions and my actions are in line with that. That is very helpful. Um, I also like marriage wise, we're not even the type of people who are like, we need to have that date night or whatever. Like, we just really like spending time together. So we just spend every moment together that we can. And we're just like always hanging out and doing things together. It's like every day is,
Does he have any roles in your business
he does.
besides
Yeah.
besides advisor?
Yep. He does payroll
Okay.
still. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And like bookkeeping and that kind of thing.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, that's beautiful. Being in alignment with your values, like if you could just do that, if
Yeah.
we could just do that.
Because sometimes you do have to drop things or not do things 100% the very best. Like you just, I don't know. I mean, no, I do know. You cannot do 100% your best in every single thing that you want to do if you're a high achiever, like really driven type of person. So I think you have to decide like what are the things that are okay to do good enough, and what does good enough look like in all of those areas. And my marriage and family good enough has a much higher standard than like my housekeeping good enough, or my meal prepping good enough, or even my marketing good enough, you know?
Mhm. So good. How brave do you have to be you?
Brave. Very brave, I think. I feel like every time I have really grown, like internal growth, but also like external stuff, like audience growth, revenue growth, that type of thing. Like even studying abroad and meeting Stuart, and we had a long distance relationship for 2 years that we were dating, like all of these things like that took bravery, I think. It was always like, okay, this is the scary thing, and I'm diving right into it.
Mm-hmm. So good. So good. Yeah, I remember when I started working with you, I was in my little office because we had a 4-bedroom house that we had just bought and we had no kids. And so I had an office. Like, I don't have an office anymore. I think you do. You have an office, right?
Yeah, so my office is our old dining room. We put
Gotcha.
doors on it and turned it into my office.
Wait.
Yeah.
I have a wall. So, so but what I was going to say was I remember sitting in my little office, and the thought that came to me when I signed up for Mom and a CEO was I matter too.
I love that.
And it was like, okay, at that point, all of our money was kind of going into groceries.
Hmm.
Like, here's some money for food. And I was like, no, no, no. We're not going to just buy food. I'm going to get some help. And I feel that for my audience too. I'm like, when are you going to matter? You
Yeah.
want to have kids. You don't have an infinite, you're 43. When are you going to matter?
Yeah.
So, that's how I found you. And I feel like that's just such a worthwhile question or statement for everyone to make, like, I matter too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
if people are interested and like they loved this conversation and they loved your vibe and they're like, who is this Stewart guy? He's very handsome. I'll just say
Thank
that.
you.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I obviously do agree.
So it's like she has this handsome husband, beautiful children, like, and people want to know more about you. And so can you tell us the name of your business now and where they get all the ways they can find you?
Yes, yes. So the program that you referenced, Mama to CEO, is now called Booked Out Business. And it has all of the things that you loved about it before, but then I feel like it's just been upgraded so much. So if people are interested in like that starting out phase and figuring out how do I get clients, how do I make money, that's the place to go. I would also recommend that they check out my podcast, which is Simple Online Business. And I have a free Facebook group as well, Online Business Building Women. That is a great place to come and just be around other business owners.
Yeah, so good. I mean, like, you have so much free stuff and
Yeah.
so many ways to like find out about you and really get to know you before you pay not much. Like, your program isn't even that expensive. Um, yeah, so you're amazing. And I really appreciate your doing this call with me. And I was like telling my husband, well, I'm meeting Samantha, so I can't do this or that.
Well, thanks so much for having me. This was really fun. And I enjoy getting to have like one-on-one conversations unfiltered with clients and see where the conversation takes us. And it's always interesting and always fun. So thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. I thought of one last question for you. One last
Yeah.
question. What would be if someone is okay, if someone is single, my audience is single, so they don't have a husband to help out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the one thing they should do to start making money in a side hustle like coaching, what's the first thing they should do?
So they should tell everybody that they know that they have started this business and this is what they do and this is who they help and who do you know who needs this. That I think is the most overlooked first step for most business owners. I know I didn't do it. So I always call myself out with this. Like, I didn't do it. I was too scared to do that. But I have seen clients who do it fill up all of their initial client roster spots just by that.
Yeah, so good. Samantha, thank you so much. I will see you on a coaching call because you know I have lots of coaching
Yes.
I want from you. But I really
Absolutely.
appreciate your doing this call with me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.